Under the theme, No to Cyberbullying, Kajatu Juwara attended the Physical and Health Initiative.
The health and fitness walk, physically joined by the First Lady, began from Sting Corner to Westfield Monument with the theme, No to Cyberbullying. Speaking to GRTS, the First Lady, Madam Fatou Barbaro, said work for health exercise is good for everyone's health. She challenged Gambians, particularly women, to participate in health activities in maintaining healthy lifestyle.
Let's exercise because fitness is health, and you can buy health anywhere. You can gain it by yourself. Surely, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, I'm not diabetic, I'm not hypertensive, and I do it frequently at home. And I'm trying to tell every woman, at least because I'm an advocate for women, let every woman try to do something at home, at least 20 to 30 minutes. You will help yourself.
The Minister for Youth and Sports, Bakari Baji, pointed out that the exercise is significant as it improves muscular strength as well boost endurance.
Personally, I am delighted to be part of this march and everything that it's made for, because one, I am the minister responsible for youth and sports, and this event is organized by mainly young people, but it also focuses on the issues of health as well as issues of sports. So us being here is not a favor. We owe it to the young people of this country. We owe it to every organization that organizes an event, that if I can be there, I will. If I cannot, we will get somebody to be there.
The CEO and founder, Gambia Women Health and Fitness Walk, Manyima Bojang, said initiating health events is part of her top priorities, noting that physically and health exercise will not only increase the health standard of Gambians, but equally promotes unification amongst them.
We have realized that a good numbers of women have been operated now because of lack of exercise, obesity, and not eating healthy diet. That's why we thought it was the women should walk a distance and do a workout. And then our team is no to cyberbullying. That's the most important part of it. No to cyberbullying. Real women fix each other's crown. I was a victim of cyberbullying, and I know what it felt.
Sally Baji, a staff of KM Emergency Response Team, said the day's activity has immensely made her more active and wished to join similar initiatives.
Me being part of this activity is very important because fitness is part of health. You know, as women, we must come out and then exercise so that it will improve our health.
An association, Real Women Fix Each Other's Crown, with the theme No to Cyberbullying, organized this colorful event meant to promote healthier lifestyle and peace among Gambians, particularly women. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Khadija Tujuara.
Now, gender-based violence is a deep-rooted practice in families and communities, affecting both men and women, leading to emotional, physical, as well as sexual challenges to individuals. Thus, the Public Relations Officer of the Gambia Police Force, Superintendent Lamin Jai, speaking to GRTS on the sidelines of an orientation of media practitioners on reporting gender-based violent cases, explained the role of the police in prosecuting violators of law on gender-based violence. Jai as well highlighted challenges faced by law enforcement officers in investigating cases related to GBV. More in this interview conducted by Usman Mane.
As a department, always will get cases of gender-based violence-related situations, and we will investigate. We have a whole department which is called the Gender and Child Welfare Department, which is responsible for investigating cases of gender-based violence-related matters, and also assisting in the prosecution of those cases. So in other words, investigate cases of gender-based violence as well as prosecute offenders of gender-based violence.
In prosecuting some of these offenders, of course, some of the cases are capital offenses. The police or the prosecution team always face challenges. What are some of those issues?
Very well. The prosecution of these cases, challenges that come along with them includes evidential materials being tampered with. For For example, because of the lack of knowledge, of adequate knowledge about gender-based violence-related issues within our communities, most of the time when these situations happen, people tamper with evidences before even reporting the matter to the police. That's one constraint that we face. In certain instances, they already destroy the evidences by washing clothes, by tampering with crime scenes, or even in certain instances, the situation is about delay in reporting the matter, because at some point in time they try to negotiate within the communities before reporting the matter, and when such negotiations fail, then they report the matter. That delay in itself also becomes constraint. And the other thing that is very important and crucial to prosecution is witnesses. Certain instances we have individuals not willing to come forward to become witnesses in cases especially relating to domestic violence and gender-based violence-related matters.
Recently, we have seen people resorting to social media to report cases instead of going to the police. If it reaches the police, how does that affect your investigation?
It is very important, and that is why I am very delighted to be part of a program like this. When mainstream journalists are being adequately equipped with the requisite information that they needed to be able to report on cases of GBV, that will help the police also very much, because like you said, some of these cases that are reported on social media, the way it is being reported there, and when we investigate, usually what we usually will come to find out is quite different. And so that the matter will take a whole dimension. And so that's because perhaps people are rushing to report on the social media. Or perhaps I wouldn't want to pinpoint that these are all the time journalists. Sometimes they are not even journalists. One more important thing is to do with the police investigation itself. There are sometimes we as investigators within the police department don't want these informations to be out, in the sense that it is going to affect or jeopardize with the process of the investigation. That's why some journalists, sometimes they follow me on certain issues. We can confirm, but we cannot give details, because some of those details will affect the investigation process when they are out there. And so when journalists are able to understand that within for the police, that will also be very good in terms of dealing with cases, in terms of dealing with the survivors as well, because their welfare, their protection, their safety is very crucial in the whole process.
Police PRO Superintendent Lamin Jai there speaking to Usman Mane. Moving on, the Gambia Press Union over the weekend held its 5th edition of the National Journalism Awards, to which 13 categories were battled out amongst journalists from the print, online, radio and television. As by Ibrahim Cham reports, the National Journalism Awards is a flagship program of the Gambia Press Union designed to recognize excellence in journalism in the country.
It was a night dedicated to the hard-working members of the media, a moment meant to recognize and reward the exemplary work of some outstanding personalities in the Gambia's media scene. And the star of the show was undoubtedly one of the country's leading investigative journalists, Mustafa Sawandi Dabo, who left the pristine surroundings of the Sadauda Karabakh Conference Center with 6 glittering awards. Such was his drive and dedication to his work, and the corresponding reward that many name-checked him with congratulatory messages across the media spectrum. With over 200 entries submitted by 40 journalists, the panel of judges trimmed it down to 100 stories within 13 categories ranging from health, finance, environment, human rights, legal affairs, and a lot more.
We selected the winning entries based on accuracy of the information, initiative, originality, clarity of interpretation, storytelling ability, public benefit, or impact of the story on society, audience engagement, innovation, and the journalist's writing and creative flair.
The chairman of the awards committee, veteran journalist Demba Ali Jawa, noted that this was a special award held in special circumstances, which almost got cancelled due to the pandemic.
We concluded that it would be unfair to deny Gambian journalists the opportunity to showcase their work for 2019, and we then renewed our determination to go ahead with the process, regardless of the challenges. We therefore took the decision to make it a low-key process by reducing the number of categories to be competed for from the more than 20 in the previous years to only 13 categories this year.
Information Minister Ibrahim Silla highlighted that the Gambia government has made great strides in free speech and access to information while creating a conducive environment for journalists in the Gambia.
We have now seen journalists taking investigative journalism very seriously. And as a government, we recognize the work that you are doing, but we also want to assure you that our doors are open. If you need information, please contact us and we will make it readily available.
Other award winners included Mohammed Esba, who won the financial category, and Mariama Cham, bagged the women and children reporting category.
I could remember last year in 2019 when, the cases of maternal mortality was increasing in the Gambia. So I was like, everybody was blaming each other, the blaming game was going on. So I was like, why not, as a journalist, I go deep into this issue and find out what is happening.
So I believe definitely as journalist, if you look at what inspired me more is the underreporting. And then I believe the national budget is one of the most important policy documents in the country.
Special awards were also given out to people who excelled in the profession and have set a benchmark in the media fraternity, advocating for good governance, human rights, and rule of law. Fatu Jain Senghor of Article 19 was part of the special awardees.
We need a good policy framework. So I think what I will always say is that it's good to have freedom, but we need also to ensure that the laws are protective so that you don't have this impression that you have the freedom de facto when legally the protections are not there. Because as we speak, the reforms are yet to be completed. And unless we have those frameworks, I will say that I'll put always a caveat to say, yes, we are free. The media can investigate, can report, but we need to be protective, and we need to protect journalists from being prosecuted unfairly.
It was a night filled with glamour, but amid all the fanfare and joy, these journalists will continue to reflect on the work they are doing and its impact on society as the Gambia continues to progress into a new democratic dispensation. Reporting for GRTS News, I'm Bai Ibrahim Chan.
Well, hearty congratulations to all the awardees and GPU. Now, the United Nations Children Fund, UNICEF, donated ICT equipment to Mansa Konko Area Council. The equipment, including a laptop, a printer, and other accessories, were handed over at a ceremony held at the council's office in Soma. The donation was done during a familiarization visit to the region by the new UNICEF country representative. As Alajimbai reports, the new UNICEF boss also visited some schools and health facilities in the region.
Having arrived in the Gambia in August this year, the new UNICEF boss has been visiting stakeholder institutions and organizations working in children welfare. Here in the Lower River region, Gordon Jonathan Lewis and his team visited some schools and health centers in Kayaf, Soma, and Mansa Konko. The team also handed over a set of ICT materials to Mansa Konko Area Council. Speaking in Soma, the UNICEF country representative explained the purpose of his visit.
So I thought it was very important for me to be able to get out into the field and see with my own eyes what is the situation of children in the country, but above all within the context of the impact that COVID-19 is having on families, communities, and children. So I took advantage of visiting a couple of schools to interact with some of the students, some of the school directors. I also visited a maternity ward to see how the different medical services in the region are attending to such critical problems as maternal mortality, neonatal, and infant mortality. And of course, to come here to participate in this event together with the Mansa Konko Area Council to participate in the handing over of some critical supplies.
Mr. Lewis also expressed his impression with the reopening of schools while praising the political and stakeholder commitment to a smooth and safe school reopening process.
Children are really, really very happy to be back at school. I mean, you could tell by looking in their eyes. You can tell by the interactions that they're having in the classrooms, outside of the classrooms. They are very happy. It's been a long period of time for many children to be out of school, many of whom were not able to benefit really from the strategy of distance or remote learning provided through television or the internet. So children were really, really in need of going back to school. That's number one. Number two, that there's a tremendous commitment on the part of school administrators and consequently the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education to guarantee that the return to school is as smooth and problem-free as possible. So there is a big political commitment to ensure that the return is fine.
Mansakonko Area Council Chairman Landing B. Sane said the support will boost his council's coordination and monitoring role on children matters.
The council last year took it upon itself to engage UNICEF more to see how we play that monitoring and coordination role to make sure that all the investments on children relating to UNICEF in particular are being monitored by the council as its mandate will be, and also coordinated. So therefore we worked around to see a mechanism of having quarterly coordination meetings, and part of that culminated into drawing out some action points that include provision of materials and equipment to facilitate the process.
The Director of Children Affairs at the Ministry of Women, Children and Social Welfare, Bintu Fati, said the intervention is in line with government's commitment to the protection of children.
This initiative is in line with commitment of government of the Gambia in envisioning Gambia where all children are protected from violence, abuse, exploitation, creating awareness of child protection actors, and responding to the needs of children in any environment they can be found.
The UNICEF boss disclosed that the materials also include a motorcycle that will also be handed over to Council, adding that findings from the visit will be considered in his office's action plan to further strengthen collaboration. Lajimbai, GRTS News.
The Gambia Standards Bureau held a sensitization for ward councillors and staff of Mansakonko Area Council. The activity is part of a nationwide sensitization for various stakeholders, focusing on the use and importance of standards in methods and products. The activity is part of events marking the World Standards Day, annually celebrated on the 14th of October. Alajimbai again.
On use and importance of standards forms part of activities embarked upon by the Standards Bureau to mark World Standards Day, celebrated on the 14th October annually. This year's event was celebrated under the theme, Protecting the Planet with Standards. Speaking in summer, the Director General of the Gambia Standards Bureau, Papa Seka, explained that the sensitization campaign is in line with his institution's mandate to promote standardization.
We are conducting this sensitization, regional sensitization, and the direct stakeholder engagement in fulfillment of one of our mandates stipulated actually in our Act to promote standards and also to create awareness, to increase the awareness on the work we do, but also the standards that we develop, because standards are developed and expected to be used. They are as good as their usability, and if you do not sensitize enough the stakeholders or those who are expected to use or be affected or affect the standards in whatever context, that means you are compromising the usability of the standards but also the effectiveness of the standards.
The Director of Standardization at the Gambia Standards Bureau, Ibrahim Jallo, said the sensitization focused on national and international standards that are critical for institutional and business management.
We have developed a lot of standards in different sectors that we've realized is only stopped at the GBA. Many people in the rural communities don't know about the standards. So we just come here, sensitize them about the availability of the standards and give them some of the brief content of those standards, so that anytime that they want to use them, they can use them, especially the business communities here represented, because we have some very good standards and on good hygienic practices, hazards that they will definitely need in their establishment, and other small and medium scale enterprises will also need some of those standards, especially if they want to go in big scale and also exporting their products to outside the country.
Boa Kinte of Mansakonko Area Council thanked the organizers for the initiative, adding that such trainings will enhance service delivery at the council.
This interaction is very important because for the first time in the history of the council, we having such an interaction as far as standards are concerned. Because in our interaction with them, we are able to understand that even at institutional level, but there are such standards that need to be developed, and then they can even partner with the council in that aspect, which will even help us to at least excel or leverage on our day-to-day administrative works.
Officials of the Bureau advised institutions and businesses to ensure the use of standards in methods and products for better services to the people. Alajimbai, GRTS News.
Members of the National Assembly Select Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development tossed government projects in rural Gambia, gauging their level of improvement and impact on beneficiary communities. Our correspondent Ibrahim Ajalo gives us update on the committee's findings in rural Gambia in this report.
This is a cattle drinking point in the border village of Sarimusa. The project is established by the Agriculture Value Chain Development Project. It is meant to provide water for the cattle in 3 villages, including Sarimusa itself and Sabi. Previously, according to the villagers, their cattle used to cross the border into Senegal in search of water. And now with the coming of this project, their cattle can access water without having to struggle, crossing all the way into Senegal in search of water. However, the conditions attached are that animal owners will pay $5 fee for each of their animals drinking here monthly.
Farmers were very appreciated with ABCDP for the cattle drinking point, and they have been benefiting a lot from that cattle drinking point. So many cattle come there and have their drinking point there. After the villagers also, the community are also benefiting from it. According to the Alcalo, he said they have even extended the water system to the school.
The parliamentary committee proceeded to other project sites in URR, including a modern poultry facility in Sabi awaiting supply of birds. From here, the committee and team of agriculture technicians and project officials visited a women group in Woodley West that is benefiting from a ram fattening scheme under the Agriculture Value Chain Development Project.
We meet the Bantunding community, of which they also have a sheep fattening, ram fattening, and according to them, they have gained a lot from that ram fattening. Unfortunately, due to the COVID-19, they were not able to purchase any ram for this past Tobaski. We really appreciate the people at Bantunding. They were very cooperative, and the purpose of the ram fattening of their groups has bring them together, having mutual understanding among them, and they are gaining some money out of that. So I think it's a real achievement from all the projects that have been sponsored in these communities.
Meanwhile, some of the project sites in both URR and CRR were evidently less impressive for reasons linked to implementation, market and sustainability. Ibrahim Ajalo, GRTS News.
Well, the report by Ibrahim Ajalo takes us to a break. We'll be back with news from outside the Gambia right after. Now, Juba's partly FIFA-funded football stadium is reopening after a section collapsed during construction last week. The incident was described as minor by investigating authorities, but represented the latest obstacle in South Sudan's struggle to fend off its economic woes. In Côte d'Ivoire, the new Olympic Stadium donated and built by China is now open. The facility located in Ebimpe on the outskirts of Abidjan has been constructed for the 2023 CAF Cup of Nations tournament.
And whatever, its construction by Chinese firm Beijing Construction Engineering Group took nearly 4 years. With a capacity of more than 60,000 seats, it is one of the largest and most modern in Africa. Costing 218 million euros according to Ivorian authorities, it boasts of an Olympic city, swimming pool and hotel amongst other facilities. President Ouattara hailed the partnership with China that led to Africa's newest architectural sporting jewel.
I am very touched by China's gesture. I would like to say thank you to President Xi Jinping. I'm proud of the Sino-Ivorian cooperation. This is just the beginning, because there are other stadiums that we are building in Buok, Korhogo, Yamoussoukro, San Pedro that are valid for the 2023 African Cup of Nations in Côte d'Ivoire.
China and Côte d'Ivoire are good partners on the road to development. The list of the fruits of mutually beneficial cooperation continues to grow. Many projects have been realized, and other projects are progressing well.
The new facility will replace the 40,000-seat Houphouët-Boigny Stadium located in the center of Abidjan as the country's national stadium. Its inauguration ceremony with a great show of dance and music took place in the presence of 50,000 people, all grateful for China's gesture.
China has nothing more to prove in terms of expertise. It is at the same level as European countries, and even beyond. We thank China for the beautiful stadium it has offered us.
China has extraordinary expertise. I'm moved by the work that has been carried out, because this stadium is an incomparable masterpiece, a first in Côte d'Ivoire, particularly in the city of Abidjan. The Ivorian Championship is no longer as it used to be, but with the inauguration of this stadium, which pitted our two big clubs, ASEC and Africa, the value of Ivorian football will be further enhanced. This stadium, in a word, will enable young Ivorians to participate in the matches of our championships.
The inauguration was marked by a test match that pitted ASEC and Africa Sports of Abidjan, the two biggest clubs in Ivorian football. It marked the first sporting event of the year since the suspension of national competitions due to COVID-19. The Abimpe Stadium is scheduled to host the opening match and the final of the 2020.
Now to end the news, a look at our top stories once again. Harnessing agricultural gains. The Minister for Agriculture concluded a week-long nationwide tour with a visit to farmlands within the West Coast and Greater Banjul area. Promoting safe haven for all, police prosecuted perpetrators of gender-based violence. The First Lady, Madam Fatou Barbaro, joined dozens of women and executive members of Work for Health on a day's fitness exercise under the theme, No to Cyberbullying. Acknowledging the role of media, Gambia Press Union awarded the performance of outstanding journalist. In the internationals, Juba's partly FIFA-funded football stadium is reopening after section collapsed during construction work last week. That was all in this edition of GRTS News. From me and the entire news team, thanks for the pleasure of your company and stay tuned to GRTS.
Gambia may be the smallest country in Africa, but it will host the second largest gathering of world leaders in 2022. To successfully host the OIC Summit and put the Gambia on the global stage, the government of the Gambia set up OIC Gambia to mobilize resources for the implementation of key development and infrastructure projects on a scale never seen before. 20 new roads will be constructed across the country, and the Bertel Harding Highway will be expanded into a dual carriage highway of 2 lanes on each side from the airport to Sting Corner. All people in the Gambia deserve clean water and a constant flow of electricity. Therefore, an entirely new water system will be constructed, including new transmission and distribution networks to meet the increasing demand. In order to provide a more reliable supply of electricity, the OIC Gambia project will replace and double the capacity of the NAWEC transformers and overhead electric cables. We will equip the police with modern apparatus and technical training in an effort to keep the streets of the Gambia safe. By building the largest international conference center in the region, a 5-star hotel with state-of-the-art facilities, first-class mobility services, and improving the VVIP experience at the Banjul International Airport, OIC Gambia will position the Gambia as the leading conference destination in West Africa. With our partners in the tourism sector, we will reinforce the preeminent position of our nation, the Smiling Coast, as a go-to destination. The OIC Gambia will create strategic partnerships that calls for the involvement of local talent and businesses as a matter of requirement. In short, OIC Gambia projects will create jobs, boost commerce, accelerate growth, improve the urban outlook and lifestyles of many families across the Gambia. So let's support the OIC Gambia as it prepares us for one of the biggest global events, OIC Gambia.
Assalamu alaikum badimolu ngal konton kabo GRTS alla Tarakukoto mollemu benketa Ibrahima Insanity anado kunyo Khadija du Juara
ko munta alkamin fo ado to ado mambo molle butabar ado mambo
futu karambungo fonsita karambungo to je nga futuo niking katon bi jamano is a graw battle
hani manyo tan tab hani to mallafi manyo isi idula tombo isi nyolu tombo bari buke badi ngo tombo no ite ke fanje o konole
ni folo da ni be labanna
nali e bala fa soto nyoye ali nyo bunya albe nyo konole adum badi ya odoro ne ma diat
bande musol mal se kewol fana ma kantu dobi je liaje sinal buka den kewol le kasab
na te yari mama te mana be wote yala
nani yalla daño e sanden ko wulule den ko wulula kontani ma beda waye ay yalla dimukan
assalamu alaikum badin jiberlal ni lamoy lalbe dawa darande kaberin ka tong fo koina kala hakili bulandi ko albal Tarakukoto programme le jibe kante min kanale GRTS na radio to aning television alnal badin mañol lomunte Khadija to Juara ning Aliou Bojang kay ko na cameraman mi yalon ka ben timinandi yak camera bala badin ngol ko min ka ke nyamin doron Tarakukoto programme lo mi yalon ka tata nata kaya be mo min ti doron wala mo kan nun jibe na baluwolu kenyal be nyaadile anin na kukoten jama mil yalon ko bebe dikirim min kandoro wala mun na baluwolu kunyalti Tarakukoto programme ma fanga murun na Tarakukoto ko lube kan hani ngonga na Tarakukoto ku beto lutannu ngela fannun na bi bete mal kan ay ke kuti mi yalon ka be kala na fadroneti woton te Khadija to Juara bi natale na janem felenti tanje bato tanje dum be ngalon ne ko dun kiraro mi yalon ko do ko dron ne ke jang kay ko funding ke lombang bal nyol lombang kay ko kelu ni musolu belle ka denjang kana do ko la ka do ko ke itarola woto bidung na kacha ko minti dran wala mo barakoti munomo barakoti barakola kumaya barako kamune wulo woto bi wala be kacala jang be ngalo ne ko tanje jang mudulale timi yalon ko barako le bi jang nyalbe musol la jang ni la nyelu nyalbe fondin kella ibe balkono ibe nyelu mutala woto nyaabe minje kan doron wala mo barakoti woto wadalilo kamambe min kacala doron wala mo barakoti woto mbadi ngalo kaca kumo balbulu banta mbebe dending kaca minna. Good. Ya bitum badi ngol hani bi kayembe tanjele ten kay ko nyaabe funding kele be jang mi yalon ko nga tarabato woto afana aba fala molyele abe muneke kan jang ani fanan barakola kumaya woto badi ngol kay ko badi kacabe bulo kono jang
alhamdulillah rabbil alamin kadijatu juara nge bismillah tanje badato jang anin GRTS la kurumu me be nga fale ko alhamdulillah alda min fana nyinin ka wana min ka pringa kaca jang wala mu Tarakukoto alhamdulillah yin Tarakukoto be ka jibel GRTS min ko fana barakoti ndonde to mu lamin bojandati mba do ko ke kan tanje bada to jang min marta fonninkel mi e fongo bondi e barako nyini kan pour que Gambia supply nyela yentele ke la kuntiyati yentele mi la president ti Gambia la wo fondinke katla balu min ka Gambia ka nyebodi jang kada fo koyna o fondinke le yentele ke la kuntiyati o len sijang munta bunda fonda bake kabrin tanje gunjuru kada fo bakaw nyimbada borindo kada fo nyujo suwa nyimbada borindol be nyim fondinke le be nyebondi jegi bondi kanjang ka samba kada fo ka koyna ka Gambia banko sindi nyela ka nyeftan diye bala mo fanse nye kendo domono o be barako la bundale bara ngamin taran na mol bulu nan ke bala bulu ka barako ka sanne to nya barako ka sanna buka sidi rek e barako soto nyama fo je finti ye mamang ye do koke isna mol se dua ka fa kan ye ni alfale kacha alfale dua ye al se kan no nyim barako kon barako nyin afanu da bake barako ka yiru asambana me barakanta yawo mo yiriwa tayyale amunta ko nyibaddo ko ke kan isa ko kamino sorono wole ka barko samana otan ka yirwa fana samaya mojuma se imuna fangado ya jibe mu potanje jan to nyalo musol bi janne mini e fango bondi Gambia no lomu iba nyesa kan jang kulungoto iba beta ka wafu kel dimbal samba kan kel ma koy o be barko let nyibode tara bada fana jibe nga kontanda ba ken na fondin kel e fango bondi ka dumba kono kaje ko ka nyesa manyana mbadi de Senegal man taja nyawnya banna fondin kelu bi jang mini kaftela kada kulung dantal min bambul jang kata fo de ka nye samanan jang ngamuna ka wo nyella no nunto nye kole ado numbate bar sañ alhamdulillah nyim barako ba safo mole ko kato beke nse beka nyini mol bulo kon fon be sa barako sodono barako nyin wole be sodona wala saddo ko keno ela dimbala sambano bar barakanta ya dukar be nga jamfa wala wala ka sabo suñaro nin kolba siari wol be on pade ka do kolke bar yeddo ko ke tek duwa kafta kan ba jelo ko barako sodano
ko barakante ya komi yafu nyamin wole ka nyimbe wulu komi ka sunya rol ke anin ku ko tengol min yalon ko enin ku kendol manta
barakante yala ko be sambana anin do kun tayya was ni man so ni man ka parege baraka rek ita do ko kelano fo ni man ni la fa barako kela rek fo ye do ko ke alas ne keno ye barako soto wada ibada fanan ko ke wala duwa fa nga kafde kam e barako ni soto la ni aje ke baraka fo ko barako ka sanne ni findirande lambo jambor yan sa ndala kadjati ya ngi ko dalas ko fele o ke dalas ke mo fa ni ko ni baraka o kula fa na do ko kanne ibajala ko wo a barako ni wala fa ji bala ko ran ka fo barako ka sanne ibajala ko amu kulati mimban be mi ya lon ko ay silo mi wala be wala nyinde ko ni la feka baraka rek du kare nyaati don do ko wala nyaati don do ko rek barko sutolale imana ko nem banko Gambia fonni kelu ngaje ko mota do kula nyin telefon en daka je ko kam sama ko kam fam ma ko isaje ko se nyin do ko keno nyaaji be nyim fonni kel mi yalan ko bijan sain dara ko mo ke mo tallulu moto tallulu moto tallulu ni lul mi yalan ko bijan Gambia fonni kel le tamu wo moto mo sabala wo mo nan mi ka dugo moto kon be fonni kel le wandi fala kela nyel sang kata ka sambo fo dlaro ba ko be barko soto je nyaaji be yol komal jibe manke molti mi yalon ko mam baraka ale dema be kal dimbal samono anyama ale yake bal mi yalon ko bastiri man sonno wo emulet la wolle mu barakan tangolti kadi wole kata suñarol ke ka mol tora e bok jamano tora la be fo tora la isna kusoro je fam mi yalon ko kay luwati nyaladi
mo barakari ngo iko sute nyaadi le
mo barakadi wolo nyintugo mo mi ya fo bondi astigi atada kata fo kata do ko nyina fo tarola nka fo lo mo barakari ngolti
abaraka bake mbadiŋolu kaye ko tanje bada to long mbe min jibe kan doron wala mo barakoti barako la kumaya ngamoy kaca kono ako barako ka sanne woron mbe min kela doron nin kaca sa tenteng kaca mi yalon ko mbebe dendi ngala mbe min jibe kan wala mo barakoti
wala mo jibe kan almon be so la barakola ya alfa aljabi ku ya alfa almutaku ya la hajo ya tarkaso ya nyini ya balu tarola wala mo barakoti almun be sola barako la kila barakoto yela alfa duna nini ye kunye ko mani men fo ya bara wala mun barakoto almun be sola barako la ala nin kila barakoto na nin fa hormo dun ta ko kuto alsa barako keje bayta alfa jabi kuna ibe ku kurun kela ibe sunyaro kela ibe ku kotan kela barakata ile kuto ane million soto hadarun
barako ka soto nyaadi
barako ka soto wala alfa yetu wa koma yetu ila alfa al koma ye tangani ni tarakasola ye bali tarola wala barakot ya dundi ko kuto asimol nyabo
nge tara jang ibe nye bala
ha mbenye
ko nyeno itibe muneke kanjang
ndaba ndata nye nyini ngalele ndak fana ka tiro le kaya doma doma ngata nye sanjana bana ngata senka wafu ngane dimba yali balundi mbole
abaraka bake mbading ite tondi
nte jawaro sise
abaraka bake bitung ay ko felenti tanje badala jang fay safuno nye munamu barakoti barako la kumma ya be nyaadi la
barako de akono fanda bake
nyaadi
alamade woni barakata ni hari jawanata ka kuja mala wulu ni barakata hani banko ke ka kuja mala fa shamalo barako la ka beno banko fa shi banko fa na fa fan ila barako kam ni barakanda ya ta falan aka fenja mala falantinya
mimbe ko
dunia kubi kete nyabo ibe kamola ya marta ibe kamola ya mar mota mela wula respect man mo respect ko bimbe jamano men kono mo be ba fambulu dinno be fanti nyala ni diamote ta moyla men mula samati ta lonna adu momo kay no duwa ngambe nulu koma dole men kata fala o kata do fala lo kata dunia sitano banko sitano fo janna la ben kala nyame har jawdo bala le bum yo ngol ka fo musolu comme de ngola barako katara musolu bu tonya la katara musolu bu bare me piamano men to bi ata musolu bu ba dinno jama bi jabe afantinya ni diamu de te moy be sira fe ngol mala be kulu kala e kota do ko kala ta fen kala e ko baraka mol men barakata men soto yo soto fo ma sa bu lo le kan wala mbatandi ni jamano kon ani mo kuma moy balia e be kamola ya marata e be kamola moy mo be ba fambul na dum bukata o nyama fo nga tara nyola yambaro lo ko fo jandi me kala jame wala la barako ni barakata hani banko kana fali mol be banko ke man ke manjati man ke fendi la barako ne na fasa bu masa kunna mol ba na fa kono e kabilo ma tundol ma koy e sate ko tangul ma koy o fale masa ka fundang do ko la fanna te men so shofo
baraka bake mbadi nyetara janne tanje badala fay sa fono nye ite ko muneke jang
tanje badala jang ndabi jang ele rimbe na jang nta mo moto borani laal ko da soto jang na do ko mo moto are birin ke ba ta moto bula be badala jang ka do ko lek
itondi
Amadou
Marong barake bake kay hani bi mbali tanje badale to dami yalon ko komi ni ko barako ika barako dam male je jang mbe fondinkel je kan mbe musoli je kan mi bebe do ko le bebe sobe yarin fanan oto o be mo minti doron barako le wo ko lu be no bari hani bi kay ko ngete fanan tara jang ewe jang faysam afonye barako la kumaya barako kamune wulu kabirin na dandangol to na badim bungol to na doko bundal to tawo drandi dami yalon ko ndam malle kabenje
ila ngini karo kumaya da bak barako akono fano da bak barako folota dami wala mnyinte wulu lalu ne dingo wulu kana so ngay free ayda education o mecho anin kuluo
kodi nyaadi
ayda education ibakaran le mecho la fengo fenna o mecho ibakaran le fengo fenna wala kadin ningo samba barako la kumayatu nindi ma occupied comme naman busy akata du fenne kono amam milno akata fenne karang amanya min karanna dun nayo karandro ali wala bina sokon bare niya dun dami yalon ka ba nafala be di nafala barako fine o bi jele o ba fayen ani harjo fana ba fayen bare mimma kungoti wala mun dinni wonyanta bisila la manyana frila kulu la fannala ni londo la fannala dinno nyanta wala taala folo nata da be menna dawda aba lonna mimun nafati ani mimu barakoti so harje wo alale ko wodi bare barako wo ka folo biri wululal fulol ila kuluru nyalla andum barako le ka banko samba barako le ka dunya samba barako le ka barako dunya samba barako le ka korda samba barako le ka sade samba nyimba dala tangina ta dan jamin teng teng mobele kana jang hanen tol min bi jang ntol ka tra janne nte to tomu ya sonkolete mu tange di ngolete nkulu uluta janne nkuluta janne ntele mo foloti mi yalon ko nin koto male ka trakito tanu kallo nyini nu jang mol kallo nyini kata kamena wulo ko na ngi jani nin koto male ko kenu jang so ata telefon defana nga mol nindi o kono fo dolu say bi dolbe tro ko do say lobu kap soto no wulo kono mimbe ngi janla say ntol ngom foñole say ntol bi jande ka committee makoy ka bada do ko dawda la fatiñala nga wuli ngata nge makoy nga je tembendi ntol bi jawole nyam ha
baraka bake mbadin kay ko mbadingol hani bi Allah Tarakukoto programme no min kanale GRTS la television oto aning radio coming alkaji be nyamin doron Tarakukoto programme no mbe min dun jibe kam bi mi mun na programme ko ti wala mo barakoti munamo barakoti barako ka soto nyaadi le barako la kumaya woto hani bi mbadingol ko teke mba fala le ka shakumo bal bulu banta mbe be dendin ka shaminna
ne kata kuoke itata dawda fo alay sike mo barkaronte alta la man solo kam mo ke bam barkaron so be yabe dawda ifana ya katagi emi soto ya kino e do ko binin derete wo fo bato fo marseto alay so fanko alay mako ko kudo so kino ha alay so jata kende ala se do ko kino fo isa france fin soto ibe mi lande ta soto la barin kata ste soke mbe mi lande mbo ko soto baranga teste birim baatu fo wulo kono fo dawda
andu teste so ase mako e ke fam balundi
ha se mako ngam fam balundi
yela dimbal mako sai ni man son ka baraka kuoke o mari ala kuolo o kamune wulo
wona stale de
nasi
kande e ka ala dani ni la masatallahi ite ke mu barkaron ite fana mi wulo fana e baraka e kuo ku dani ala ya ala sake fana say ila kata ko hanni ma asoto be min landila bari fana be min do mala al telefon la be min di ba al telefon la be min fana ni ma asoto wato mina fana se mol wale mo fana ya soto mol e wale dunya bonya de ma soto ngata da nka birim bato fo marseto man fe soto be min landila fo wulo ko no berete bere son ni nani dawda bato kado ko ke muka soto no diwara
baraka bake
eske barko man ta santo barko man muruna
nyaadi
ko morto de nyanta min kala man tara o ke kan ha ka awulu lalu batu ha nyanta min kala nga ke man nyalla mi mala nga o bulaje bari san tol bu ko ke
sai barako la kumaya yamune so tebe min fulano barako la kumaya barako kam mune wulo
barko kam wulo kayro do ani nyatota ni mo wulo lati ni barkata ni dingo wulo e barka ni la bal alfalu batu ite fana ila dingo le batu wala mo barko e fengo fenyini isa soto
barako kono fanuta de
barako fono mota fono la fa fanuta baba kele
nin hadama dingo mantara barako la siloto ya mira wokuolu kamune wulu kabirin na satel to na dandangol to
ni yaje gambia barkata molle barkata antolle ngani bari nimma nyini ndiro ke pour gambia barka ate barkala woto hadama dingo nyanta barkala e fem barka ma soto ni yaje kare fem barka ma soto a barkata
abaraka bake mbading etondi
to Mamadou Sonko
bake
barako asifa siyadale okay barako dol bije obe harmadi ala karola barako dol bije mu soto kenyalti bara beta na duwalum ani duwa soto ka dalamane ka kunay ka fay barako soto ya anta ngaje wala nyamo
barako la kumaya ay barako ka mune wulo
barako ka dinke na wulo kele aka family kenno fanan ka kele isakar ma bara family kende baldo o fana barako la mo maybe jama wulula la ka bolle bala fanan ana la nafa fanan dal hanita da nyini ndirola ika fen soto je ibuka bada ku soto je iga haraje fanan ka firinje barako fana be bol kono
mbadi ngamo jamal leje jang miliyalon ko ibe wafirola dolbe takam ba kono dolbe matematika motolu bala ke la nyeluta ke samba ngalon ne ko jamal le fanan be kering miliyalon ko ibe suwol kono walla be sirim bantol to bulol be laari nyokan e mantara fenna woto yamira nyulla ko miliyalon ko ibe jang ibe la catholique kan ibe do ko ke la tarola pour que i famma ko ni la dimbayal yamira barako ta walla ko ta ba
ni ajibe wo fan na karola ka da men fote dolbe je barako be la karola handu ku lado dolbe je barako te la karola comme kam mi fudo nyini do la karola abeta dana da duwalo wasi ka dolje jangi ka soto ke barabu ke nafa hane atara ika million la soto jamba ni etara ima akenya soto no ibadu ni la damento han sem barako tije okay sa dolje isa tara jang harje firmu soto barako tije isa dolje barako soto hana tara do mondinam ase nafa jang ay nafa suwo kono okay doy wuli ay da nyini ndiro la manka ay barako soto do be siring ay barako soto le bar harje man soto so bari bajala defana jamabe jam mi yalon ko kana jang kata lallum nyini ndir lallum okay dolbe suwo kono mebi jar ken yalla ne man nano so dolbe je fana amanke la siloti so jamabe jang dol kada ba kono ya fanya menten dol kada nyewa fola dol kada kardo la fanana asifa siadale bar ko min kam min fodon duwala karolom ya ni duwa so kabirin suwo kono o wulula bunya so suwo kono wulbe ka barako kele so atara nara mebi jawo mimbe suwo kono dobe suwo kono wala baraka min beja dobe jam mi alon ka dal baraka min be suwo kono so abe wala nyama dal
okay baraka baake mbadi wal hani bi yalla Tarakukoto programme lo min kanale GRTS la television to ani radio aliya moy le mbadi labanto min fola jang ako mo jamal le bi jambil yalon ko ibe do ko la jang bari dol take na fa dol la fengo buke na fa ako ate min je duron wala nyinti duwa mo feneti mi yalon ka kumata baake ando aka kafu barako le kan woto duwa ni barako ni mentabe mo feneti mi yalon ko jangonanta duwa la le jangonanta soto la le isaje yo koku ke yo koku ibe koku to isaje barako katarano wala kono wala mu Tarakukoto programme oti nga janjibe nga jam fanan jibe nga nyin la moy nga nyin dom fanan la moy isaje sayla nafa ila kumol nafalta ke lafanu nabibe tamal kanga ke kuti mi yalon ka be kala nafa drone wodon te kadija to juara mbafula le ko hanibi Tarakukoto programme lo nim programme o setenteng
barko ntenga barko min lon wolum adama dingo mi barko soto ngamra lafta wole lonna adama dingo mi barko soto wolum momi ya lonko yela wululal bonya ye doko ke la wululal ye ni dua ke do be barko soto be dua soto be barko soto ntenga wole lon
barako ko mata baake kodi nata nan jande ngaaje ko mol fanan be mathematikan andu ngalon ne ko jamal fanan bi je miliyalon ko barako be la ko to le bari ibe do ko ke kan jande ila do ko be na fakan abe ma koy kan inila dimbayal ni mo ko ten jama ngamira barako be ko fanan to le woto barako la kuma yambe wala la moy kan hali
maya tale barako akuma ya batale barko kuma ya batale de bayre ni la do ko long e kaminke ya long ite kaminke ku ke mi ya long ko sama ate mantoro na tele do ko ke dron mi ya long ko abe mol se wondila o be alhamdulillah so la ta fengo fen na ba sot la je abete ata je bake
Tarakukoto program olong min kanale GRTS la television oto ani radio barako mu feneti mi yalon kon ka moy bake kari barakatale ate barakatale imu mo barakari ngodi kuma di maba kuma lo mi yalon ka diata tuloye adiata gisoye bitung ni momam baraka ala kul katara nyaadile
adama dingo ni ya moy kari man baraka ni man baraka asunta ite fangole yes katun ite imam pare do ko wala ite imam pare ke la wulula albunya imam pare ke do ko ke la wulula li ite ipare ta minna wolom kata sunyaro ke kata tinyaro ke ye fengo fen soto ate barakala bar ni la wulula albunya ye la do ko long ya long ibe min kela sama wallahi ifengo fen ne do ko do abe barakala le
mbadi ngaje ibe fenne sidika ko nyimmin siditen nyimo muneti nyimo puru muneti
jalo puru nyemuto jalo lom nka jalo le siditen
ifan ka nyemutale
ha
ifan ka taba
ha nkata num bato bare sayen jitale ke bayatale say
to dala ni sito keta wati nyadilla
abuka mefan ha abuka me
community lolom bang folo kungolom bang nyadi
yani tilikili mo fa on se fula sitino le wala saba ha
ito nyale itondi
yaya jamme
wala mo yaya jamme ti mbadi ngolon kay ko ngatara bato jang tanje felenti yakabe jalota ka ba siti kan ye mutara ngolom mi yalon ko ikadun di bato woto hani bi mbadi ngol kacha ko mo bal bulu banta bebe dendin kacha minna annal badi mo nyol monte kadijatu juara ning aliou bojang mi yalon ka ben timinan dia kan camera bala nim portaye bori nin lotaye lo nin wafutaye wafu nin na driver mi mu buba jatati hani bi mbadi ngol Tarakukoto program olon kacha ko mo bal bulu banta bebe dendin kacha minna barako mono barako di
barako de kukum malem hada bande woni wuluta e baluta e nyanta barakala le e nyanta do ko kelale fo ya fo karima ni amo nakare e barakata le ni ko ndingol alon ko dinkendo le ngote dim barakare ngolem ba ni amo ko idingolem nyinti oto kubala ko oto mo nyante yakata ye barako soto ye do ko ke yes ake yani tarola pour sama kam yesi barako soto ni soto fananke ye ibadi ngol soroka je ye ba soroka ye fa soroka woso ni ngol ko ya baraka doron alon ko e barako soto oto wulula kumayata ko kono bakele nin abe kela fanan nyante wulula nyanta kumaya de la ko kono le ni ngol wulula ko e dawoda baraka doron alon ko e barako soto
mbadi ngol hani bi alla Tarakukoto program ono min kanale GRTS ngayem felenti jang be tanje jang aliyaje le musol be min fokan iko barako mu feneti mi yalon ka kumaya tale andi ye wululalu pour ka wulula batu ya ko nyin sutiyandi baraka ko la bakele mi yalon ko imari be tariyala le ka barako so woto wululal mu feneti mi yalon ko komi fawol ba faka nyamin akumaya tale ke sewondi ke niyolu kontanindi ani fanan ku ko ten jamal mi yalon ka bebe kele kontanol di wodon badi ngol hani bi kateke mba falale kacha ko mo val mulu banta bebe dendin kacha minna barako la kumaya wala mu barako e mu ne understand by
barako danko ye denkene ya rak ye lafi la tarora rak wala barako ti kana suna mo la tarola yeah
yo ite be mu ne la jam
nte be do ko wala be ice fishing la nka nyelle do ko nka galas motol kono e kata control to different country like Basse
countries like
Basse yalo wulo kono Casamance yalo Senegal yeah volontaire do ko
corona mu feneti mi yalon ko yalla ne kabe wajabi kam banko kanne andu ngalon ne ko ay ku jamal le tala atol alla nyon do ko albanin corona samba kan nyaadi albal fam mako e kan nyaadi le sa jal sattan kano nyin sasa
sister o jakalo warta ka dula bebe body ni dula bebe pendi nim corona e ko bele mu dafan dogo fam buka keno billahi wallahi
mela maksole
ndafa na makso ba na bagole sunya science side ice plan ja ama me ba ngada njere no mu tonyal makso yeah no mu tonyal do kan mu tonyal makso ba mu to nde aliou mane yeah no ibe chef ni
yalon ko mune kaja barako ka wala jibe muna mu barakoti barako la kumaya
na ke waje ne na vosi ne barko ya mun da barko
la kumaya yalon be ka kari barakatale kari man baraka ni ko lati mili yalon ko ke moy baka kabrin da dandangol to na badin bungol to dawo drandin dami yalon ko mbe ben kanjal
barko akasoro dami sisa barko sifa siatalle
do ko nyeba
barko sifa siata
ko no fano da bare dol fanyo ba
kardingo barakata anin kar barkata nin dara a fondement to barko kasoto bunda fulal alala demaro kam fonde because anne ko barko alala kasoto mansata lala karolla barka dimo kasoto futuwalla keni musote I understand kardingo barkata kebal ko nego kardingo barkata karbale sonda futu wala fay
kodi
I understand bande man son futu wala ke mingete nyine ka fala kardi mon barka I understand on dan ko barka dum aka sodo man sata lala de maro ro kono ba fe ne aja bo fana fola o musoni ala le yaso kandola andi afa fɛn bɛ ka sɔrɔ masa ta lala karola barako hani fɛn ne ake moye a sewata barako lo mo I understand hani ni timi fɛn bɛ diam kante barako lo mo because ya karanne ya soto ya plaso dida o fɛn mo barako lati I understand sa dal barako dal
coronavirus fana musa salati mi yalon ko nabe balu kanne anda be wajabi kanne en kay ka be dawo daranding ayalla do ko batandi nyaadile ani fana albal fam ma koy kan nyaadile kaje ko alyal fam tankandi nyin sasala
awoni na bosi akachawala
ila maksole
na maksaba mondoko no
na mantare bulanya mbari ngono ane bi Tarakukoto programme lo mi kanale GRTS la television to ane radio nde min ka chakan doron wala mo barakoti muna mo barakoti barako la kumaya barako ka mune wulu kabirin na dandangol to na badin bungol to na doku bundal to dawo doranding dami yalon ko ndam malle ka benje walla ka tarajele barako la kumaya ka wala jibe ngado sato jang afanye bang muna mo barakoti
alhamdulillah rabbil alamin barako banin fa bala
banin fa walla munti
yaman ni ilal fa inta batayel ni barate e barako sala bani mon batayel fa ko da batayel fa dole ta barako sala
silandum barako la kumaya barako ka mune wulo
sobeya wulu aka fuare abai aka jara ken asonni aka sata bai abiyo kun barako ko
ito nyala abaraka baka ito ndi
lamin ture
ito kamune ke jam
no bana
bano ito nyala abaraka bake kumadi
mune barako
ka soto nyaadile barako ka mune wulu
barako ka me wulu o siata lako
okay dol fonye ba
dab gadiya kayra dron
barako la kumaya ka wala jibe muna mo barakoti
musante wade diyamo ndabul ndawal di jande billahi mul ndawal di manega ka manga
kumaya ka wala jibe yalla filenti jay ba fiiro la ko di yimbe barako
man ka kono ko de nata nyesa wala
kono ka sa free fa ya ni la dimbal yo barako la kumaya ka wala jibe muna mo barakoti
nda kaf kon yama kam malde
dama ndim fanye no dem bila en jelo da mala fin tindila dama ndim ko
mbalal
mbegi la fin tindila
mbalal
to ni ko barako
wala dunya ko bete ko fulo londe barako haraji barasa molke kuol jahasile anda mangena jahasila because ni ko barako woni harje man kiliyade isa doja barako sotole a harje mawara bara hanama de wonte in my own opinion ye barako soto barako tereno kan wole fisa harge because ni barako soto ima fo fenna baraka sanna de barako ka sanna de aka sanna de sister ika sanya de in the first place ila wula fulo ko le duanye ne namiro bol fo yalla momo you have your own opinion in my own opinion ila wula fulo ila parents sol yo duanye ne follow number 1 imo fulo be imo mi soto ya kele parents sol duanye ne ni fin defan banta e mol horma e mol bunya yake bal horma ni fin da banta ne ke baja patata silokan ya ma ko ala duro sambola ne mo tala siloka ya hormo ni bunya dia hormo ni bunya nya soto imam fo barakol because ni hormo ni bunya soto ni fin da banta e ko ke ba banta na duwate o barakolti o barako sablo no kan fa faw barako mo fenete mi yalon ka diya tulo e baake andun ka moyle kabirina dinkiral be dawadrandi na badi bungal to na doku bundal to marcel to nakol to hani bada to jang insa moy kari barakatale bari kari mam baraka sila ning hadama di mam barako soto ite amira mari la kulu ka kenyadi le o ko mune wulu sister wala ku buga beteya mo furu ka vola mo furu ni ama dawda kana gelede it's very serious ni ama dawda mo furu barako Tarakukoto mbinga katanga barako nyini barako akanyini lede fe mama jali bako barako ka sanne ako harje o ala ko wadi mo barako o ka sanne de baraka mu santa de harje o mo alla sorol jali bala fanta ba fat jali bako kata wala fode
baraka bake mbadi ite tondi
ntom hadin do ya hadin do ntom
baraka bake barako la
kumaya afo kayro de
yalon barako mo fene mi yalon ka kono ta ko di nsa moy kari barakatale dol sa fo kari mom baraka ñun be mo kumal de million ko ke moy baake sa be min jibe kan wala mo barakoti mono mo barakoti barako ka soto nyaadile barako ka mune wulo
barako de mo be le barakatale amta ya mo le soto nyalle bankar no mo be le barakat mo be le barakatale amta de no yalla bulol be nyam mo falam be wala nyam
nyala itan di dong
ndo mo hadi sen
ita mun to mala baraka baga kami jibe on barakot munon barakot maya
ko di nyino na fule nyino wala barako ye wulula la duwani ni ye na fulo nye dimbal balundi halalo wala barakot
barako dung o ko mune wulu kela mol ma koy
aka me wulu aka dinkende ala wulu because ni te wulu la bati ye ma koy ibe diwul mi fanal wulu wala fana nenta dole fana batula mi yalon ko family ko dal dinkende ado tabala nim barako bari ya ni te family ko ne man sobe man katoke ni dingol menta ko te sa oken ni wulu la bati fay dingol sebe ni dingol ye bati fay mamano fay mumurun ite min do ko ila wulu la o kilo wala katama family ko mol ka barako
ite ko mune ke jang nyebe jang
ndembe business o
mune business ka
chalo business
chalo ko wala wafi luwolu nga ika wafa e bang
luwolu ka bar do bije marse ka balan do bije abuka bang
saja ko do ke nafa
kan nafal because kala dimbal balan duwol
mun ta ko barako be wofanan ton
barako bo fana because kala dimbal balan dimina barako bije
baraka ba ke tondi
fanjay bari ka fanyo bar kanja ni enkil fanjate bar ni ko bar kanja tanje badal ibe mo njela yam
baraka ba kadi jotu
konton
kuna mu barakoti barakola kuma yanka wala jibe
barako kuma ya tara ala nin sate dia ta atemma na atemma nin kamme mo biye barako batara je ba nin kamme mo te barako batara je de a depend ala coming like ndeli nyala ka kilinde tinga nyoba mo nyoba kanyu ninga nyoba kanyu bakela kilindele barako bina banko kan so nin ma nyoba mono barako tunala no because abitala one side ajibe Senegal ke defini Senegal ke imane fi imula fan teldi et asi Senegal ni a falling ake tele na fadi nan tele abukan tele na fa fenda fe mo kan tele na fade so sai ya try mo ko ni mo ko kulungo nin ko don telephone nin kel be ndala batarin ja ba ya jele san dolbi je sana ko jiba nim bala do fo nin ke ba ya ke di singol le ba ya ke ko fe e man tar fenda man tar do kula dun jan ko do mi jan dantala ja
mi jan
dantala nga be le fo
an surata munella
nsura mi na ma ko yoro
mimbe ko nyaani
mimbe ko kulungo ne kulungo di molla ya di molla asa even londe nka do mon do iti dala ba ko no ya min be so ya be di iba di la molla lolneti ya do mon dimbi do mon ding ifara ni ya do kula yo al manifa wala ko dimala be fana mul do ba do wasol e ka do mon nyam fay bang na banda na kete tade falam problem na kete falam iba kel do ko turu ba compagnie dam wonde problem bar fonin kele ba yaay ka inda yele ndo do ko lon bar sa len da do ko la nka mo le ji mi alon ko lo mo le mi dina da ngi dani nyele yon so nga wafi ngar je min tin ni way se
ha barako la kumaya ngaje fanam bi jang ibe do ko la jang kodi ika mo ne ke jang
diga ngasu wodo le wa
nga dinni o fanan je ko way dingolo
ha ni wala minti
mana mo barakoti barako la kumaya ka wala jibe
he barako mune barakoti ye fenyo yini ifangoy ni ye fengo fe ni barako be mola ni ye fengo fe yini ifangoy akay mona fan bari ni barako man dara mola hani ye ko di soto ko jama ba soto ate na fala because barako tela
bitum badi ngolun kay wala mo Tarakukoto programme TV kanale GRTS la television to ani radio komi mbaje ka nyami doron Tarakukoto programme lon bimbe min jibe kan doron wala mo barakoti barako la kumaya barako ka soto nyaadile kay ko kuma jamal fota kuma jamal moyta mil yalon ka bebe dengling ate baraka ku kili wala ko to woto mbe tanje badan kol be tentula ila kolu beta yata ila kumolu nyinyata fanan aliou bojang mi mun cameraman ti atamin ben timinandi akan camera bala mbaten tula bake nina driver kende ba mi mu buba jasati woton te kadi jatu juara mba falale ko ala baraka bake inshallah fo kay ko lokunda la ninka cha kundo se na min be kelan tol bela den kachati woto ala baraka bake
assalamu alaikum badi modu ngal kontron kabo GRTS alla Tarakukoto mollemu men keta Ibrahima insanity anado kunyo kadi jadu juara
ko munta alkamin fo ado to ado mambo molle mutabar ado mambo
futu karambungo fonsita karambungo to je nga futu niking katon bi jamanu a graw batele
hani manyo tan tam hani tam lafi manyo
isi dula tombo isi nyolu tombo bari buke badi ngo tombo no ite ke fanje o konole
ni folo da ni be labanna
na ali e bala fa soto nyoye ali e nyo bunya albe nyo kanole adum badi ya odoron ne ma diat bande musol mal se kewol fana ma kantu dobi je liaje sinal buka benke wolle kasab
Ani yolla banyo esen kumulule den kumulula kontani mabeda waye ayolla dimukan
It is the most famous, most expensive, and most mysterious painting in the world. Each year, millions of people visit the portrait in the Louvre. The Mona Lisa has remained a star among works of art for centuries. Because fanatics attempted to destroy the painting, it can now only be admired from behind armored glass. But what makes the Mona Lisa so special? The small painting shows nothing more than a portrait of a woman. Or does it reveal something more? It was painted by one of the greatest geniuses who ever lived, Leonardo da Vinci. And with Mona Lisa, he left behind more than just an image of a woman.